Hey everyone. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. It really helps YouTube recommend more stories like this one to you. All right, let's jump right in.
The second I saw the flowers, my stomach dropped. Not because they were ugly or wilted, actually they were beautiful. Two beautiful they were dahlias. Deep red, almost black in the center. I grow them in a raised bed just outside my kitchen window. And I know for a fact they haven't bloomed yet this season. And yet, there they were. A perfect bouquet of my own flowers. In his hands. "Thought I'd bring you something special," he said, smiling like it was nothing. "I heard you liked flowers." His voice was warm, normal, but all I could think about was how those dahlias were mine from my backyard. We met on Tinder, obviously. His name was Jordan. He was handsome, had a kind face, a mix of outdoorsy and clean-cut that somehow made him feel safe. That's what drew me in. He wasn't overly charming. No cringe pickup lines. Just casual conversation, voice memos, some mutual love of indie horror movies, and an obsession with sour candy. We texted for 2 weeks before meeting. I kept it safe, never gave him my last name, no address, no tags and photos. I even used a burner number at first. I was cautious. I always am, and still. Somehow when he handed me the flowers, I tried to play it cool. "Oh, these are beautiful," I said, forcing a smile. "Where'd you get them?" He tilted his head. "A little farmer's stand off Route 13. Lie, I felt it in my chest like a pressure drop. I knew those flowers, every stem, every color, every petal, they were identical to the ones I spent all last spring planting. I even had little copper tags with their names etched into them. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept checking the backyard at 2:47 a.m. I finally got the courage to step outside. It was freezing. The grass was wet and one of the copper tags, black narcissus, was missing. The next day, I told my best friend Lena, "Are you sure?" She asked. Maybe they were just similar flowers. I showed her photos. Side by side. The same jagged rip on the leaf. The same petal shape. The same color gradient from blood red to black. "Jesus," she whispered. "Okay, that's messed up. Do I confront him?" I asked. "I feel like if I accuse him, he'll gaslight me. Or worse." Lena nodded slowly. "I think you should ghost him. Block everything. And maybe get cameras." That night, I installed a ring cam above the back door. I didn't tell anyone. Not even Lena. I also blocked Jordan's number. Unmatched him. Deleted the thread. And for about 48 hours, I thought I was in the clear. On the third night, my ring cam caught motion at 3:14 a.m. I watched the clip the second I woke up. It was him, just standing in my yard. Not at the door. Not doing anything, just watching the house. He stood there for 4 full minutes. Then he bent down, plucked a small white flower from the edge of the garden, and left. No knocking. No messages. Just that. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call the cops. But what would I even say? A guy I went on one date with trespassed in my yard and picked a flower? They'd tell me to get a restraining order. But to do that, I'd have to see him. File paperwork. Give them his full name, which I didn't even have. I called in sick to work. I spent the day locking every window, covering the side door with furniture, digging out the pepper spray I hadn't used since college. I couldn't eat. My hands were shaking constantly. Every sound made me jump. That night, I set up a second camera near the garden. I also moved a dining chair against my bedroom door and fell asleep with the light on. Around 4 a.m., I woke up. Not from a sound. From a smell like crushed grass. Damp soil. Fresh pollen. It was coming from my pillow, I sat up slowly. The room was cold. Too cold. And on the windowsill inside the room was a single white flower, the same kind he picked in the video. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I left the house as soon as the sun came up. I took my laptop to a coffee shop on the other side of town. I didn't even brush my hair. I just grabbed my keys and went. I stayed there all day. Even called Lena to come meet me. She took one look at me and said, "You need to go to the police." So we did. I showed them the videos. The flower. The missing garden tag. The officer nodded along but said, "Without an identity or more aggressive behavior, our hands are kind of tied." He gave me a form to start the restraining order process. Told me to call if anything escalated. But when I got home that night, I found something worse than escalation. I found familiarity. My front door was locked. Nothing broken. Nothing taken, but my bathroom light was on, and inside the sink was a used Q-tip. My bathroom trash can was empty. I never empty it. But it had been cleared out completely, and the mirror looked off. There were smudges on it, like someone had breathed on the glass and wiped it in a spiral, like they were trying to erase something. Checked the ring footage. Again, nothing. It was like he'd just appeared. That night I slept in my car. I parked it outside a 24-hour gas station with all the lights on and the engine running. But when I woke up, 6 hours later, drenched in sweat, back aching, my phone had a new message. It was from an unknown number. No name. No photo, just a picture of me. Sleeping in my car. The picture nearly made me scream. It was me curled up in the driver's seat, hoodie pulled over my head, mouth slightly open. Same gas station lights. Same fogged windows. Same exact angle as if he'd stood 3 inches from the glass. I jerked upright and twisted around in the car, scanning the lot. A man filling his truck. A kid on a bike. An older woman pumping air into her tires. No one looking at me, but the message. It had just been sent. That meant he had been close. Like right there close. My hands were shaking so badly, I dropped the phone twice before I managed to block the number. It didn't matter. I knew he'd just make another one. I kept hearing Lena's voice in my head. Go to the police. Go again. Call me. Don't be alone. But the idea of talking felt impossible. My throat was tight, my breath too shallow. I just needed to drive. To move. To feel like I wasn't a trapped animal waiting for something to grab me from behind. So I started the car and left. I didn't go home. Couldn't go home. The idea of walking into that place knowing he'd already been inside made my skin crawl. He knew the layout. The locks. The lights. My room. My bed. Instead, I drove around aimlessly for an hour before pulling into a Target lot and trying to calm down. When I finally felt steady enough to speak, I FaceTimed Lena. She answered on the second ring. "Thank God, where are you?" I don't know," I said, wiping tears off my face with the sleeve of my hoodie. "He took a picture of me in my car while I was sleeping." Her face fell, eyes widening. "Send it, right now." I did. She covered her mouth. Okay, you need to come to my apartment. You're not staying out there alone. I'll meet you at the door." I didn't argue. I drove straight to her place, 3rd floor, gated building, security cameras everywhere. She hugged me the moment I stepped inside. "You're staying here tonight," she said. "And tomorrow we're going back to the police." But that night, even with her next to me on the couch and all the lights on, I kept jolting awake, convinced someone was standing in the corner. Every creak of the building made me flinch. At 4 a.m. I checked the cameras on my phone out of habit, and my breath caught. The garden camera, the one facing the flower beds. It was blocked. The feed was nothing but black. Something was covering it from the outside. "Lena," I whispered, shaking her awake. She groaned. What?" "I think he's at my house. Right now." She shot up instantly. What? How do you know? I showed her. She cursed under her breath and rubbed her face. Call the police. Right now. I hesitated. I don't know why. Maybe because I felt stupid. Maybe because I was terrified of being told again they couldn't do anything. But then the second camera, the one by the back door, pinged with motion. I tapped it. My heart almost stopped. There. He was standing inches from the camera, face shadowed by his hood, just staring into it. Into me. Like he could see me through the screen. Lena grabbed the phone out of my hands. I'm calling 911. The police arrived at my house in 6 minutes. In those 6 minutes, I refreshed the camera over and over. First he stood there. Then he leaned forward until the hood fell back slightly and I saw his jawline. His cheek. His mouth. Jordan. It was definitely him. He straightened up, put something down beside the door, and walked off screen. By the time the officers showed up, he was gone. They swept the property. Checked the windows, the yard, the flower beds. Nothing. No signs of forced entry this time. No footprints in the soft soil. No fingerprints. No discarded tools or tracks. But there was one thing. The item he left by the door. A small vase glass. Round, tinted blue. Inside it were 3 dahlias and 1 white flower, all from my yard. Underneath the vase was a note. 5 words. Written in soft looping handwriting. You don't have to hide. I didn't go inside the house. The officers asked if I wanted to get clothes or belongings, but the idea of stepping over that threshold made my stomach twist. I stayed in the driveway, hugging my arms, staring at the windows like I expected him to appear in one. They filed an official report this time. Took the footage. Bagged the note. Told me I could file for an emergency protective order in the morning. But their eyes said what they didn't. They knew it wasn't enough. I knew it wasn't enough. He had been inside once. He knew how to get in. A paper wouldn't stop him. For the next 2 days I stayed at Lena's. I barely slept. Barely ate. Jumped at every buzz of my phone. Every few hours, I checked the cameras. He didn't come back. On the 3rd day, Lena had to go into work for a half shift. She begged me to come with her, but I didn't want to sit in her office or wander around the mall. I'll be fine, I lied. I locked the door. I'll stay in the living room. She still looked worried, but she went, and for a while, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Around 11:40 a.m., I got a notification. Motion detected, front door camera. Lena's building had a hallway camera facing her door. I opened it immediately. A delivery guy stood there. Amazon vest, package in hand. Scanning a code. Random, normal, harmless. I exhaled, until he turned his head slightly and smiled at the camera. At me. It wasn't the delivery guy. It was Jordan. Wearing the vest. Holding a random box. Smiling like we were sharing a private joke. He lifted a finger to his lips. Then he knocked. 3 soft, gentle taps. My body froze. My breath stopped. Everything inside me screamed, don't move, don't breathe, don't make a sound. He knocked again. Still gentle. Too gentle. Hey, he said through the door in a low voice. I know you're in there. Tears spilled down my face. My hands shook so violently I almost dropped the phone. I just want to talk, he said softly. Then he tried the doorknob. I almost screamed. The lock held. He let out a disappointed sigh. Come on. Don't be like that. I backed up slowly, step by step, until my legs hit the couch. I didn't sit. I just stood there frozen, watching him jiggle the handle again. Then his voice changed. Lower, harder, flat. Let me in. I didn't move. Didn't speak. After a long moment, he exhaled sharply and stepped back. He stared straight into the camera again, face empty, like he was studying me. Then he said, you look different without your glasses. My glasses were sitting on the coffee table behind me. He had seen me inside. At this distance. Through the peephole? No, his angle was too perfect. My stomach turned to ice. He wasn't looking through the peephole. He was looking through a lens. Hidden camera. In the apartment. Somewhere near me. I stumbled backward, scanning the ceiling, the shelves, the vents, but before I could find anything, the hallway camera glitched. The feed flickered, and he was gone. Just gone. I called 911 again. They came, again, cleared the hallway, cleared the stairs, checked the building. He was nowhere. Lena rushed home, terrified and apologizing over and over. But none of this was her fault. They searched her apartment for cameras and found one, an impossibly tiny pinhole device tucked in the air vent, pointed directly at the couch. We didn't know how long it had been there. We didn't know how he'd placed it. We didn't know if there were more. I moved again, this time to a hotel, one with 24-hour staff, cameras in every hallway, and a keyed elevator. I still didn't feel safe. On the 5th night, I was lying awake, lights on, TV playing quietly, when a soft knock echoed through the hallway. Not on my door. Another door on the floor. I muted the TV. The knock came again. 3 gentle taps, exactly like before. I slid off the bed and crept toward the peephole. Empty hallway. No one there. But then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Peekaboo. A second message followed, this time a video. I pressed play. The clip showed a hotel hallway. My hallway. He held the phone low, walking slowly, stopping in front of each door, listening. When he reached mine, he lifted the camera to eye level. My room number filled the screen. Then the video cut out, dropped the phone and backed away from the door. 10 seconds later, someone tried the handle, not violently, not aggressively, just testing it. Soft clicks, a slow turn, like he was feeling the lock. I ran to the phone and dialed the front desk with shaking fingers. There's someone on my floor, I whispered. Please, I need security up here. They said help was coming, but the handle kept turning. Slowly, methodically, like he was waiting for it to give. Then a soft, amused laugh on the other side of the door. My knees almost gave out. A moment later, the handle stopped. The laughter faded. Footsteps moved away. By the time security arrived, the hallway was empty again. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I sat on the floor against the bed, knees tucked to my chest, phone in hand, watching the door until sunrise. Around 7 a.m., I decided something for the first time since this nightmare started. I wasn't waiting anymore. I wasn't hiding. I was going to disappear. A new city, a new number, a new job, a new life. I packed everything into 2 bags, checked out of the hotel, and went straight to the airport. I didn't tell Lena which city. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anyone. The less people knew, the safer I'd be. I boarded a flight 2 hours later, slumped into my window seat, and exhaled for what felt like the first time in days. When the plane took off, I finally closed my eyes. For a moment, I actually believed I was safe. I landed, got my new SIM card, picked up a rental car, drove to the sublet I'd arranged under a fake name. Everything was clean, small, and quiet. Just a studio with white walls and a fire escape. A place I could breathe. I dropped my bags, locked the door behind me, and checked the bathroom mirror. I looked dead tired, pale, sunken eyes, but alive. I splashed water on my face, leaned on the counter, and whispered. The first time he asked me what I'd want my funeral to look like, I thought he was just being weird and darkly funny. We were sitting on a bench outside a Thai restaurant after dinner, finishing up our Thai iced teas, and out of nowhere, he goes, "Would you want it to be a small thing?" Or, like, dramatic? Like black lace, candles, thunderstorm-full gothic energy? I laughed. I remember laughing. I don't know, closed casket maybe. I'd rather no one stare at my dead face. He nodded way too thoughtfully. Yeah, that's what I figured. He said it like he already knew me. Like we were in sync. Like he'd imagined it before. I chalked it up to dark humor. He'd always had a kind of quirky, introverted vibe. He talked a lot about death, dream symbolism, music that feels like being buried alive. It was our second date, and I still thought it was kind of cute. Until things got off. His name was Adrian. We matched on Tinder one night while I was half watching a crime doc and eating cereal in bed. His profile stood out, not because of his looks, though he was hot in a quiet, intense way, but because of how little he gave away. No gym selfies, no shirtless pics, no friend group shots. Just one black and white portraits, serious, beautiful, haunting, in a bio that read, "You feel like a funeral I'd never want to leave." Yeah, I should have known, but I was bored, curious, a little lonely. So I messaged him first. Our first date was chill coffee and a walk through the cemetery near downtown. His idea, I thought it was creative. I liked that he wasn't trying too hard. He was kind of shy but deep, if that makes sense. He said the cemetery was his thinking place. He'd come there when he was overwhelmed. Told me he loved imagining the lies behind each name. "I don't think death is an end," he said. "It's like folding into a story." I asked him what he meant by that, but he just smiled and said, "You'll understand when it's time." Second date was the Thai place. That was when he brought up the funeral thing. I didn't take it seriously, honestly. I thought it was kind of bold. Eccentric, maybe. He paid the bill, walked me to my car, hugged me goodbye. The next morning, he sent me a playlist. Songs I'd play at your funeral. I opened it. It had 17 tracks. All haunting, ambient, or classical. Titles like As She Sleeps, Final Embrace, and Rest in Amber. I didn't respond. I just liked it and moved on with my day. But something about it stuck in my head. Especially that one song with my name in the title. The next few days, I got busy with work. Didn't text much. I noticed he didn't message me either, which was fine. Kind of a relief, actually. The funeral talk had started to feel less charming and more unsettling. Until Friday night. That's when I opened Instagram and saw the story. Not from him. From someone I didn't know. A random account with one post, no followers, no profile picture. The story was a photo of me at work. Taken through the window of the cafe I manage. I was wearing the exact outfit I had on that day. No caption. No tag. Just a single emoji. My stomach dropped. I blocked the account. Locked my page. Tried to shake it off. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. I didn't tell anyone, not Lena, not my coworkers, because I didn't want to sound paranoid. But I knew. Deep down, I knew who it was. Adrian. I hadn't seen anyone take the photo. But he knew where I worked. He walked me to my car. He watched me. Still, I didn't confront him. I just stopped responding. No more texts. No more likes. I unmatched him on Tinder and set all my socials to private. For a while. It worked. Silence. Until 2 weeks later, I was driving home from work. Windows down, music low, when I saw something in the rearview that made my blood run cold. A car. 2 lanes back. I don't know what made me notice it. But it was something about the way it stayed behind me through every turn, every light. Even when I purposely switched routes. It wasn't until I parked outside my apartment that I got a clear look at the driver. Just a flash. In the mirror. Adrian. Expressionless. Sitting completely still. Not even pretending to look away. I didn't get out. I locked the doors, started the car, and drove to Lena's instead. I stayed at her place for the weekend. Didn't leave. Didn't check my socials. I deleted Tinder, turned off all location permissions, and seriously considered changing my number. I still hadn't told her the full story. Just that an X match was being creepy and I needed space. But on Sunday morning, when I opened the front door to grab the food we'd ordered, I froze. Sitting on the welcome mat was a tiny black envelope. No postage. No name. Inside was a folded piece of paper. Just 3 lines. I already told you. You feel like a funeral. And I never leave early. That night, Lena made me tell her everything. She was pale by the time I finished. Okay, we're going to the cops, she said. This is stalking. It's a threat. And we did. I filed a report. Gave them the plate number, the name, the screenshots, the note. They said all the right things, but deep down, I could see it in their faces. No threats of violence. No proof of trespassing. They couldn't do much. They said I could file a restraining order if things escalated. But I didn't feel like I had time to wait for escalation. I moved in with Lena temporarily. Took time off work. Told everyone I had the flu, but even when I wasn't home, he still found ways to get in. It started with music. Soft, eerie songs would start playing on my phone in the middle of the night. Songs from the funeral playlist. Then came the texts, from different numbers every time. You looked beautiful in your sleep. Are you cold in that apartment? Don't worry. You'll rest soon. I stopped opening curtains. Stopped checking my own reflection. I was too scared I'd see him behind me. Lena begged me to go full no contact. Change my number, delete all apps, wipe my digital footprint. I did everything I could, but it didn't stop him. Because by then, it wasn't just about watching me. It was about becoming the last person I ever saw. The morning it all changed. I woke up to silence. Not the kind that's peaceful. The kind that's wrong. The air was too still. The sunlight didn't look right. I felt like something was pressing on my chest. I walked out of the guest room. Lena's door was open. The bed was made, but she was gone. And on the kitchen counter was a note, written in handwriting that was not hers. Just one sentence. Come to your funeral, love. Underneath it was a printed obituary with my name, my face. And a date. Today. I don't know how long I stood there staring at the obituary. It didn't look fake. It looked official. My photo, one I'd taken at work last year, was cropped into a soft oval. My birth date. A death date. Today. A short paragraph about my tragic passing and peaceful service, printed in a serif font that looked like every funeral program I'd ever seen. And at the bottom, viewing at Green Willow Cemetery, 4 p.m. GRENWILLOW. The cemetery from our first date. My knees nearly gave out. I grabbed the counter to stop myself from collapsing. Lena? I called, my voice cracking. Lena, please tell me you're here. Nothing. The apartment was so quiet it felt hostile. Like the air was listening, watching. I checked her room again. Bed made, pajamas folded, phone gone, but her wallet on the dresser. Lena never left without her wallet. My stomach twisted. He had her. He had Lena. Because of me, I don't remember deciding to leave. I just grabbed my jacket and keys and ran. I didn't care if it was stupid. I didn't care if it was dangerous. I didn't care that the cops would tell me to wait. If he hurt her, if she was alone, if she was scared, I couldn't do nothing. By the time I reached my car, I was shaking so hard I dropped my keys twice. 4 p.m. The obituary said 4:00. It was 3:19. Drove like my life depended on it. Like hers did. The closer I got to Green Willow Cemetery, the more wrong everything felt. The sky was an ugly gray. The air smelled like cold metal. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. By the time I turned down the narrow road toward the cemetery gates, tears were blurring my vision. I half expected the place to be dark, empty, silent, but it wasn't. There were cars. 10, maybe 12 of them, lined up neatly along the gravel, like there was a real funeral happening. People were standing around, quietly talking, wearing black. I pulled in slowly, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. None of the people looked familiar. Not one. But they all looked at me. Every single one turned their head as I stepped out of my car. I wanted to get back in and leave, run, scream, do anything. But then I saw her. Lena. Standing at the far end of the path, next to a white tent. Her clothes were rumpled. Her hair was messy, but she was breathing. Alive. Relief hit me so hard I almost fell to my knees. Lena! I shouted. She didn't react. She didn't even look at me. She just stood there, staring at the ground like she was sleepwalking. And then I saw what was behind her. A casket, closed, white, sitting on a stand, surrounded by a circle of black flowers. It looked real. Too real. My mouth went dry. My own funeral. My legs moved before my brain did. I ran down the path, ignoring the stares, the murmurs, the way the air felt colder with each step. Lena! I yelled again. Lena, talk to me. Nothing. When I reached her, I grabbed her arm. She flinched, hard. Then, finally, she looked at me. But the look broke me. Her eyes were wide, unfocused, wet, and full of something I'd never seen in her before. Terror. Her mouth opened, slightly, trembling. He said you wouldn't come, she whispered. My throat closed. Who? I asked, even though I knew. Where is he? What did he do? But she just shook her head, tears spilling over. He said it has to happen, she whispered. He said this is your fate. My stomach turned to ice. And then a voice behind me said, I'm so glad you made it. I spun around. Adrian stood beneath the tent, wearing a black suit and a soft smile, like we were on a date. Like this was normal. Like this was all some sweet surprise he'd planned. He stepped toward me slowly, hands clasped behind his back. Funerals are so personal, he said. I didn't want you to miss your own. My mouth went dry. What did you do to her? I whispered. He tilted his head. Nothing. She was just in the way. I felt every imaginary scenario I'd ever feared slammed together at once. Kidnapping, drugging, violence, death. Adrian, I said, swallowing hard. This isn't funny. This isn't romantic. This is sick. He smiled wider. Of course it is. That's why it makes sense. I backed up. He matched my steps. The people around us, the strangers, stood silently watching. No expressions. No reactions. Like they were waiting. Who are these people? I hissed. Did you hire them? Threaten them? Oh, they're just here to witness, he said casually. A funeral isn't real without witnesses. I reached into my jacket pocket for my phone, but it wasn't there. I froze. Adrian's smile widened. You dropped it, he said softly. Outside Lena's apartment. I've been keeping it safe. I felt sick. You're insane, I whispered. His face softened. No, just dedicated. He stepped forward again, and the people parted for him. Come here, he murmured. You need to see. I'm not going near that casket, I said, backing away. He shrugged. That's okay. I'll bring it to you. He snapped his fingers. Two of the strangers, two men in black, stepped forward, lifted the casket lid, and opened it. I screamed, not because of what I saw, because of what I didn't. There was no body, just an empty silk lining. Adrian stepped beside it and gestured with a soft, loving smile. See? It's waiting for you. My whole body went cold. That's not funny, I whispered. It's not a joke, he said gently. It's destiny. Lena sobbed behind me. I grabbed her hand. We're leaving, I said. Right now. Adrian's expression didn't change. You can leave, he said softly. But she can't. My heart dropped. What? She's part of the story now, he said. Your story. Every funeral has someone who wishes they could have stopped it. My grip tightened on Lena's hand. Run, I whispered. She shook her head, trembling. I can't, he said. I cut her off. Lena, run. I pulled her with me and bolted toward the parking lot. Adrian didn't chase. He just said, calmly, if you run from a funeral, someone else has to die in your place. I didn't look back. We sprinted to my car. I shoved Lena inside, slammed the door, and got behind the wheel. My hands were shaking so hard, I could barely get the keys in the ignition. The strangers didn't move. They didn't run. They just watched as we peeled out of the cemetery. Adrian stood perfectly still under the kofa, tent. Smiling. We didn't stop driving for 20 minutes. Lena was hyperventilating in the passenger seat. I kept checking the mirrors, convinced we were being followed. When we finally pulled into a crowded gas station, I locked the doors and turned to her. What did he do to you? I asked. Did he hurt you? Did he drug you? She shook her head violently. No, he just tied my hands. He kept saying you needed to see something. That everything had to be perfect. That he wouldn't let you die messy. My skin crawled. Okay, I said, trying to breathe. We're going to the police again. No, she whispered. What? She stared at me with an expression I'll never forget. Terror, regret, love, and something like guilt. He showed me something, she said, voice trembling. Something on your phone. I froze. What did he show you? She swallowed hard. He opened your Photos app. He scrolled through everything. So, I said, what does that matter? Because, she whispered, there were pictures there you didn't take. My jaw clenched. Pictures of what? Of you, she said. Sleeping, driving, showering, laughing, hundreds. My blood turned to ice. And then she said the part that made my entire body go numb. And some of them were dated before you met him. I stared at her. No, I whispered. No, that's impossible. I thought so too, she said. But they're time-stamped. They're stored years back. He said he's been following you since long before you matched. My breath caught in my throat, and he said. She paused, voice breaking. He said you were always supposed to die today. The world tilted. I couldn't speak. We drove straight to the police station. They took Lena inside for questioning. Took my statement again. Logged the obituary, the kidnapping, the photos, everything. They said they'd send officers to Green Willow Cemetery. They said they'd find him, but they didn't. The casket was gone. The tent was gone. The people were gone. No tire marks. No footprints. No sign anything had happened. And Adrian? Never seen again. The report sits in a drawer somewhere, marked unresolved. I moved cities. Changed my number. Changed everything. And for a while, I thought I'd escaped, until last week, when I woke up to a notification on my phone. Calendar event. Your funeral, 1 week set by an unknown user. I didn't create it. I didn't approve it. I couldn't delete it. And this morning, 1 day before the date, I found something outside my new apartment door. A white casket ribbon with my name on it, and a handwritten note. Our third date is finally here. Don't be late. I don't know how long I stood there staring at the obituary. It didn't look fake. It looked official. My photo, one I'd taken at work last year, was cropped into a soft oval. My birth date. A death date. Today. A short paragraph about my tragic passing and peaceful service, printed in a serif font that looked like every funeral program I'd ever seen. And at the bottom, viewing at Green Willow Cemetery. 4 p.m. GRENWILLOW. The cemetery from our first date. My knees nearly gave out. I grabbed the counter to stop myself from collapsing. "Lena?" I called, my voice cracking. "Lena, please tell me you're here." Nothing. The apartment was so quiet it felt hostile. Like the air was listening, watching. I checked her room again, bed made, pajamas folded, phone gone, but her wallet on the dresser. Lena never left without her wallet. My stomach twisted. He had her. He had Lena, because of me. I don't remember deciding to leave. I just grabbed my jacket and keys and ran. I didn't care if it was stupid. I didn't care if it was dangerous. I didn't care that the cops would tell me to wait. If he hurt her, if she was alone, if she was scared, I couldn't do nothing. By the time I reached my car, I was shaking so hard I dropped my keys twice. 4 p.m. The obituary said 4:00. It was 3:19. Drove like my life depended on it. Like hers did. The closer I got to Green Willow Cemetery, the more wrong everything felt. The sky was an ugly gray. The air smelled like cold metal. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. By the time I turned down the narrow road toward the cemetery gates, tears were blurring my vision. I half expected the place to be dark, empty, silent, but it wasn't. There were cars. 10, maybe 12 of them, lined up neatly along the gravel, like there was a real funeral happening. People were standing around, quietly talking, wearing black. I pulled in slowly, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. None of the people looked familiar. Not one. But they all looked at me. Every single one turned their head as I stepped out of my car. I wanted to get back in and leave, run, scream, do anything. But then I saw her. Lena. Standing at the far end of the path, next to a white tent. Her clothes were rumpled. Her hair was messy, but she was breathing. Alive. Relief hit me so hard I almost fell to my knees. "Lena!" I shouted. She didn't react. She didn't even look at me. She just stood there, staring at the ground like she was sleepwalking. And then I saw what was behind her. A casket, closed, white, sitting on a stand, surrounded by a circle of black flowers. It looked real. Too real. My mouth went dry. My own funeral. My legs moved before my brain did. I ran down the path, ignoring the stares, the murmurs, the way the air felt colder with each step. "Lena!" I yelled again. "Lena, talk to me!" Nothing. When I reached her, I grabbed her arm. She flinched, hard, then. Finally, she looked at me. But the look broke me. Her eyes were wide, unfocused, wet, and full of something I'd never seen in her before. Terror. Her mouth opened, slightly, trembling. "He said you wouldn't come," she whispered. My throat closed. "Who?" I asked, even though I knew. "Where is he? What did he do?" But she just shook her head, tears spilling over. "He said it has to happen," she whispered. "He said this is your fate." My stomach turned to ice. And then a voice behind me said, "I'm so glad you made it." I spun around. Adrian stood beneath the tent, wearing a black suit and a soft smile, like we were on a date. Like this was normal. Like this was all some sweet surprise he'd planned. He stepped toward me slowly, hands clasped behind his back. "Funerals are so personal," he said. "I didn't want you to miss your own." My mouth went dry. "What did you do to her?" I whispered. He tilted his head. "Nothing. She was just in the way." I felt every imaginary scenario I'd ever feared slammed together at once. Kidnapping, drugging, violence, death. "Adrian," I said, swallowing hard. "This isn't funny. This isn't romantic. This is sick." He smiled wider. "Of course it is. That's why it makes sense." I backed up. He matched my steps. The people around us, the strangers, stood silently watching. No expressions. No reactions. Like they were waiting. "Who are these people?" I hissed. "Did you hire them?" Threaten them? Oh, they're just here to witness, he said casually. A funeral isn't real without witnesses. I reached into my jacket pocket for my phone, but it wasn't there. I froze. Adrian's smile widened. You dropped it, he said softly. Outside Lena's apartment. I've been keeping it safe. I felt sick. You're insane, I whispered. His face softened. No, just dedicated. He stepped forward again, and the people parted for him. Come here, he murmured. You need to see. I'm not going near that casket, I said, backing away. He shrugged. That's okay. I'll bring it to you. He snapped his fingers. Two of the strangers, two men in black, stepped forward, lifted the casket lid, and opened it. I screamed, not because of what I saw, because of what I didn't. There was no body, just an empty silk lining. Adrian stepped beside it and gestured with a soft, loving smile. See? It's waiting for you. My whole body went cold. That's not funny, I whispered. It's not a joke, he said gently. It's destiny. Lena sobbed behind me. I grabbed her hand. We're leaving, I said. Right now. Adrian's expression didn't change. You can leave, he said softly. But she can't. My heart dropped. What? She's part of the story now, he said. Your story. Every funeral has someone who wishes they could have stopped it. My grip tightened on Lena's hand. Run, I whispered. She shook her head, trembling. I can't, he said. I cut her off. Lena, run. I pulled her with me and bolted toward the parking lot. Adrian didn't chase. He just said, calmly, if you run from a funeral, someone else has to die in your place. I didn't look back. We sprinted to my car. I shoved Lena inside, slammed the door, and got behind the wheel. My hands were shaking so hard, I could barely get the keys in the ignition. The strangers didn't move. They didn't run. They just watched as we peeled out of the cemetery. Adrian stood perfectly still under the kofa tent. Smiling. We didn't stop driving for 20 minutes. Lena was hyperventilating in the passenger seat. I kept checking the mirrors, convinced we were being followed. When we finally pulled into a crowded gas station, I locked the doors and turned to her. What did he do to you? I asked. Did he hurt you? Did he drug you? She shook her head violently. No, he just tied my hands. He kept saying you needed to see something. That everything had to be perfect. That he wouldn't let you die messy. My skin crawled. Okay, I said, trying to breathe. We're going to the police again. No, she whispered. What? She stared at me with an expression I'll never forget. Terror, regret, love, and something like guilt. He showed me something, she said, voice trembling. Something on your phone. I froze. What did he show you? She swallowed hard. He opened your Photos app. He scrolled through everything. So, I said, what does that matter? Because, she whispered, there were pictures there you didn't take. My jaw clenched. Pictures of what? Of you, she said. Sleeping, driving, showering, laughing, hundreds. My blood turned to ice. And then she said the part that made my entire body go numb. And some of them were dated before you met him. I stared at her. No, I whispered. No, that's impossible. I thought so too, she said. But they're time-stamped. They're stored years back. He said he's been following you since long before you matched. My breath caught in my throat, and he said. She paused, voice breaking. He said you were always supposed to die today. The world tilted. I couldn't speak. We drove straight to the police station. They took Lena inside for questioning. Took my statement again. Logged the obituary, the kidnapping, the photos, everything. They said they'd send officers to Green Willow Cemetery. They said they'd find him, but they didn't. The casket was gone. The tent was gone. The people were gone. No tire marks. No footprints. No sign anything had happened. And Adrian? Never seen again. The report sits in a drawer somewhere, marked unresolved. I moved cities, changed my number, changed everything. And for a while, I thought I'd escaped, until last week, when I woke up to a notification on my phone. Calendar event. Your funeral, 1 week set by an unknown user. I didn't create it. I didn't approve it. I couldn't delete it. And this morning, 1 day before the date, I found something outside my new apartment door. A white casket ribbon with my name on it, and a handwritten note. Our third date is finally here. Don't be late. I should have trusted my gut the second I saw the name filter. I was scrolling Tinder after a breakup too soon, honestly, and noticed something weird about this guy's likes. His name was Isaac, and every girl he commented on or followed on IG. Same first name. Emily. Including me. At first, I laughed it off. Wow, someone's got a type. But it wasn't just a type. It was a rule. He only matched with girls named Emily. When we first connected, I was half asleep, wine tipsy, and just coming off a messy relationship. He sent a simple message: I was hoping to find you. I rolled my eyes but replied anyway. He was cute. Clean cut, soft smile, quiet eyes. Nothing flashy. His profile said, better in real life. Looking for something true. And yeah, I should have noticed the lack of personal info. No job listed. No tagged friends. No location. Just 5 photos, all of him alone. But I was lonely. And he felt safe. We messaged back and forth for 3 days. He was oddly polite. Always used my name. How was your day, Emily? Emily, your taste in music is perfect. I had a dream about you last night, Emily. At first it was charming. Then it got uncomfortable. I started shortening my replies, delaying responses, trying to phase him out without being mean. But then he sent a voice message, and something about his voice. It was low, gentle, but there was a rhythm to the way he said my name. Like he'd practiced it. Like he'd been saying it for years. Emily, he whispered. You have no idea how long I've been waiting to find you. I unmatched him that night, blocked his profile, deleted the thread. Didn't think twice, until the next day. I opened my DMs and saw a message from a burner IG account. No followers. No posts. Why did you leave, Emily? I blocked it. Then another came. Don't make me start over. This time, it came with a picture of me. From behind. Taken at the coffee shop near my apartment. Time stamped. 10 minutes before I saw the message, I locked everything down. Switched all my social media to private. Even changed the display name on my Venmo and Spotify accounts. I told my roommate, Mia, and she said, dude, that's psycho level stuff. You should go to the cops. But what would I even tell them? A guy I talked to for 3 days online knows my name and took a picture of me. They'd shrug. Tell me to block him. Be careful. Maybe they'd make a note. That's it. So I tried to let it go. Until Mia said something I still can't explain. It was a Sunday. We were meal prepping, blasting music, trying to shake the heavy energy from the week. And out of nowhere, Mia looked up and went, wait, I think I matched with that guy too. I stopped cutting carrots. What? She nodded slowly. A few weeks ago. His name was Isaac, right? Like super normal face, kinda warm eyes, no job listed. My heart dropped. Yeah. She frowned. That's wild. I totally remember him. Why? Because he unmatched me immediately when he found out my name wasn't Emily. We pulled up his profile from her blocked list. Same photos. Same bio. Same face. That confirmed it. He wasn't just looking for a vibe. He was targeting one name. Creep both of us out. But Mia, being the chaotic one, dug deeper. She searched Emily Tinder Isaac on Reddit. Just in case. And that's when everything started to unravel, because she found a post from a girl named Emily Ray _94. It read, "Matched with this guy who only matches with girls named Emily. Super charming at first, then super weird. Started saying stuff like, 'We've done this before, and it works better when you forget.' I blocked him. But I swear someone's been following me since. Edit. If anyone else has matched with Isaac, DM me. I think something's wrong. The post was 4 months old, and when Mia tried to click the user's profile, it was gone. Deleted. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how many Emilys were out there, how many he'd talked to, how many ignored the signs. I decided to search TikTok and found a thread. The Emily matches. Hashtag online Emily's. Hashtag Emily lists. Some were jokes, some were serious, and some were missing. People in the comments claimed their friends named Emily had gone on 1 or 2 dates with a guy named Isaac and then vanished. Stopped posting. Stopped answering texts. At least 3 names kept coming up. Emily V, Boston. She went dark after a first date. Deleted all her socials. Emily W, Boise. Her last IG story was of wine with a guy. He wasn't tagged. Emily K, unknown. All her info was wiped. Like, entirely. No digital trace. One video had just a text overlay. He told me, "You're the 43rd Emily," and the last one almost got away. I wanted to believe it was urban legend. Some viral dating hoax. People blowing things out of proportion. But then I got an email from an address that looked glitched. Like someone spammed a keyboard. Subject line, "Found you again, Emily." No message body. Just an attachment. I opened it. Stupid. It was a photo. Grainy, but clear enough. It showed my bedroom window from the outside. At night. And in the reflection of the glass, I could barely make out a shape. A man. Standing just off to the side. Phone raised, smiling. I moved out the next day. Mia helped me pack. I stayed with a cousin across town. Told my boss I had a family emergency and worked remote for the week. I changed my name on every app. Set all new passwords. Deleted Tinder entirely. And for a while, things were quiet until the police showed up. 2 officers. Calm. Professional. They asked if I knew a girl named Emily Watkins. I shook my head. No, why? They said she'd gone missing 3 weeks earlier, and I was listed in her call log. She'd tried to call my number. Twice. At 2:17. M. I told them I'd never met her. They showed me her photo. And my blood went cold. She looked just like me. Not just the name, the haircut, the cheekbones, the eyes, almost like someone was trying to recreate me. I don't know how he's doing it, but I know he's still watching. Sometimes I'll see a car pause just a second too long at the corner of my street. A stranger on the train wearing a hoodie pulled too low. A profile view that makes my stomach twist. He could be anyone. Anywhere. He's single quotes. He's not looking for love. He's looking for something else. Something specific. And the worst part? I don't think I was his first Emily, but I have a sick feeling I'm supposed to be his last. I spent the next week looking over my shoulder like it was a full-time job. Every window, every reflection, every phone screen, every Lyft driver. I was stuck in a state of constant dread, this edge of a cliff feeling that at any moment, he'd be there again, and it didn't help that every night. At exactly 2:17 a.m., I'd wake up, no sound, no dream. Just up. Like something was watching me sleep. Or worse, like something had just slipped away. I finally reached out to one of the girls I'd seen on TikTok, the one who claimed her friend, Emily V, had disappeared. I met her from a burner account. "Hi, I think I matched with Isaac too. I'm also named Emily. Please tell me what happened to your friend." She replied the next morning, "We can't find her. It's been 6 months." Her family filed a missing persons report, but there was no activity. Bank, phone, socials, nothing. It's like she got wiped. She told me the guy she went out with kept asking her, "Do you remember the woods?" She said she'd never been, but he insisted. Said they'd been there before. That she promised last time. Does that mean anything to you? It did, because Isaac asked me the same thing on our second day talking. Way back when I still thought this was just a weird Tinder flirtation. He'd said, casually, "Would you ever go back to the woods? Or would you leave me there again?" At the time, I assumed it was some metaphor for heartbreak. Something poetic and cryptic. Now, I wasn't so sure. I started searching old articles. Anything about missing women named Emily. I didn't even limit it to the last year. I went back a decade, and the pattern hit me like a punch to the chest. Every year, at least one woman named. Emily went missing between March and May, always after being seen with a man no one could clearly identify. No arrests. No clear connection. No consistent location. Just the name, and a strange rumor around each one. Things like she'd been talking about strange dreams. Said she felt watched through the mirror. She had recently deleted all her photos. She was acting like someone else was inside her head. Couldn't sleep after that. I kept my bedroom light on. Covered every mirror. Slept with the baseball bat from my high school league under my bed. But I couldn't stop the dreams. Always the same. I'm in the woods. Twilight. Cold. Fog curling around my ankles like it's touching me on purpose. There's something wet in the air, not rain. Breath. In the dream. I hear my name, soft, repeated, gentle at first. Emily. 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 Then louder. Emily. Until I wake up gasping, sheets soaked in sweat. And the clock reading, 2:17 a.m. Mia begged me to go to the police again. I tried. I told them about the burner emails. The photo of my window, the missing Emily's. Even the message time stamps. They listened. Kind of. But they didn't find anything actionable. Unless you've got a last name or concrete proof. One officer said, "There's not much we can do." I asked if they had a tech unit. They said it wasn't worth escalating yet. I left with a little blue pamphlet that said, "How to recognize stalking behavior." Thanks, I was almost ready to leave the city. Change my number again. Nuke every trace of my life online. But something made me wait. The email. The one I'd almost deleted without opening. It was from an Emily. Not a random. Emily Ray. The one from Reddit who posted about him first. The one who supposedly deleted her account. Subject line. I faked going missing. My heart stopped. I clicked it open. He's not just obsessed. He's repeating something. Over and over. Like we're all part of a pattern. I faked my disappearance because it was the only way to escape him. I had to die digitally. Wipe everything. You need to understand, he's trying to fix something. A moment. A memory. I think he lost someone named Emily years ago. Maybe a girlfriend. Maybe a sister. I don't know. But now he's trying to rebuild her through us. Every new Emily he finds, he gets closer to the original. But when they don't match, he erases them. Please, get off the grid. He doesn't stop. He thinks this time, he'll get it right. I was shaking so hard I could barely read the last line. He told me once. The 44th Emily is the one who brings her back. I was 44. I hadn't even realized until then. I was the 44th that night. I packed everything I needed into a duffel bag. I didn't tell Mia. Didn't call my parents. Didn't say goodbye. I booked a cabin out in Vermont. Off-grid. No Wi-Fi. Burner phone only. Cash payment. Just until I could figure out what the hell to do next. It was supposed to be a 3-hour drive. Took me nearly 5. I kept checking my mirrors. Every time a black SUV got too close, I nearly ran off the road. When I got there, the owner handed me the keys, pointed at the old wood stove, and said, "You'll be alone for miles." Good. I locked every window, every door, every crawl space. No signal, no news, no nightmares. For 2 days, I felt peace. Until I found the notebook. It was in the closet under a pile of old wool blankets, leather-bound, torn at the edges, water-damaged. The first page just said, "Emily number 17, Vermont." My blood turned to ice. I flipped through the pages, sketches, names, photos printed and taped in. Notes like, "Not the right laugh. Didn't remember the moon. Got scared too soon. Buried under the shed. No one will know." I dropped the book, ran outside. There was a shed behind the cabin. A shovel leaned against the wall, and fresh soil. Recently turned. I didn't open it. Didn't need to. I grabbed my bag and ran. Got in the car and drove without even locking the door behind. Me. No GPS. No map. Just away. I drove until I saw the lights of a diner and pulled in. Heart racing, lungs on fire. The server stared at me like I just escaped a cult. I asked if they had Wi-Fi. They did. I connected. One unread message from a new address. Subject, "Don't run." Body, "You weren't supposed to leave. You were the last one." You had her laugh. Her hands. I almost had her back. "We can still try again. I know you want to remember." Attached was a photo. Of me. Standing in the shed doorway from 5 minutes ago. I never went back to the cabin. I left the state that night. Burned the clothes I was wearing. Changed my name. I'm not Emily anymore. I don't exist on paper. No social. No phone. I don't even tell people my name when I order food. But sometimes, late at night, when I walk past a storefront or a dark window, I see something reflected that doesn't feel like me, and I swear, in the back of my mind, I hear a voice, gentle, familiar, broken. "Emily, is that you?" The first red flag should have been how fast he offered to come over. We hadn't even gone on a real date yet, just messaged for about a week. His name was Darren. Late 20s, looked normal in every way. Good smile. Chill messages. No creepy comments. We traded playlists, joked about bad exes. Even played that dumb. We single quotes re-dash, not dash dating dash. But dash here single quotes S dash, my dash zodiac dash sign. Game. Nothing screamed danger. But when I mentioned I was staying in Friday night, he immediately replied, "I'll bring wine. What's your address?" No joke. Just like that. I told him no. I said I wasn't comfortable yet, and that maybe we could do coffee next week. He didn't argue. He just replied, "Sure, but I'm good at waiting." I assumed that meant he was fine with taking things slow. I didn't realize he meant he'd already started. That night, around 1 a.m., I was lying on the couch in my hoodie, lights low, movie playing softly in the background. And then I got a text. From Darren, "You left your kitchen light on." I read it twice, then a third time, and that's when my whole body went cold. Because the kitchen light was still on. But there was no way he could know that. I hadn't posted anything. Hadn't Snapchatted. Hadn't told anyone I was home. I didn't even respond. I just sat there frozen, watching the hallway, the shadows, the kitchen door. Then he sent another message. "I like your red blanket. You look warm." I don't remember getting off the couch. I just remember suddenly being in my bedroom with the door locked, heart slamming so hard it hurt. I texted him back, "Are you outside?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then came back. Then he wrote, "Why would I be outside?" I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up with my back against the wall and a pair of scissors in my hand, flinching at every creak in the house. The next morning, I called my best friend, Sienna. She didn't hesitate. "Call the cops now." I said I didn't even know what to tell them. He hadn't done anything. Just hinted. Crossed boundaries. Left me feeling watched. But eventually, I called. The dispatcher was polite but unhelpful. "No actual threat, ma'am?" She asked. "He's watching me." "That is a threat." She sighed. "Has he made physical contact?" "Tried to break in." "No, but if he does, call back immediately." I hung up, feeling worse. That afternoon, Sienna came over. She checked every door, every window. Even the attic crawl space. Nothing. "He's probably just bluffing," she said. "Creep trying to freak you out." It worked, but now you ghost him. Block done. I wanted to believe that, so I blocked his number. Deleted Tinder. Covered my windows with extra curtains. Bought pepper spray. Did all the things you do when you're trying not to lose your mind. For a couple of days, it worked, until I found the charger. It was on the floor beside my nightstand. A charger I'd never seen before. Thin, black, not the brand I use. Just sitting there like it belonged. I live alone. No one had been in my room. No friends borrowing my charger. No guests, no cleaning service. I stood there, staring at it for a full minute. Then I picked it up with a tissue and dropped it into a plastic bag. I called Sienna again. She picked up on the first ring. "Something's wrong," I said. "He left something in my room." She came over in 20 minutes flat. By then, I'd torn my bedroom apart. Nothing else was out of place. But the air felt heavy. Tense. She took the charger bag and said she'd look into it. "I'll plug it into a brick and see if it's got a tracker or camera or something." A tracker. A camera. I hadn't even thought of that. I suddenly felt like I couldn't breathe. Because if he'd been inside my room, if he'd walked around while I slept, if he'd stood there long enough to drop something, then none of this was just a bluff. It was real. Sienna stayed the night. We locked every door, pushed furniture against them, even set up a kitchen chair in the hallway so we'd hear if someone stepped on it. But nothing happened. No messages, no noises, no shadows. Just silence. And in the morning, the chair was still standing, but the bathroom mirror was fogged up. Neither of us had showered. There were finger streaks on the wall. Glass, like someone had written something and wiped it away. Part 2. Sienna froze when she saw the mirror. "Did you do that?" She whispered. "No. Last night? Maybe half asleep." "No," I snapped. "Sienna, I haven't touched it." We stood there staring at the fog, at the streak marks, at the faint shape of letters trying to bleed back through. Someone had written something, then wiped it away. Not fully. You could still make out 3 letters. H-I. Sienna grabbed her phone. "We're leaving now." But we didn't make it to the door, because the front door was unlocked. We had both locked it. I checked it 5 times last night. I remember the exact click. Now it was cracked open half an inch. Not kicked in. Not forced. Just opened, like someone had walked out. We didn't go inside. We ran to the car, slammed the doors, locked everything, and peeled out of the driveway. At Sienna's apartment. She made coffee and tried to act like we were in control. I sat on her couch shaking, staring at my hands. "It has to be a prank," she said. "Or like a friend with a key you forgot you gave." "I've never given anyone a key," I said. "I don't even have a spare." She went quiet. "Okay." She took a deep breath. "Then we call the cops again. And this time we don't downplay it. We tell them exactly what you found. The mirror, the charger, the unlocked door. All of it." I nodded. But before she could call, her phone buzzed. A text. From an unknown number. She glanced at it, then her face drained of color. "Sienna?" I whispered. "What?" She turned her phone toward me. A photo, taken from inside her apartment. Of me, sitting on her couch. Angle high. Like from a doorway. Caption: "She looks tired." Sienna dropped her phone. I bolted upright, heart slamming against my ribs. No, I whispered. No, he can't be here. But he was, somewhere, somehow. Sienna grabbed her keys. We're going. We're not staying here. What about your stuff? Take it. Burn it. I don't care, Emily, get up. Her voice cracked when she said my name. I'd never seen her scared before. We ran out of the apartment and down the stairwell. Sienna kept glancing over her shoulder like she expected him to be following us. By the time we got outside, I was crying. He's everywhere, I said. He's everywhere, Sienna. He was in my house. Now yours. She gripped my shoulders. Stop, look at me. We'll get ahead of this. Okay, we'll get cameras. A pie, a detective. But she stopped mid-sentence. Her eyes froze on something behind me. I turned, and my stomach fell through the ground, on the opposite curb. Leaning casually against a street sign like he'd been waiting for us was Darren, hands in pockets. Hood up, calm, like we'd just run into each other at a bar. He tilted his head at me, smiled softly, not unkind, but deeply wrong. Sienna pulled me backward. Don't go near him. I didn't move, neither did he. He just lifted one hand, slow, and pointed directly at me. Then he mouthed something. I couldn't tell what. I didn't want to know. Sienna dragged me to the car. We peeled out before I even got my seatbelt on. When I looked back, he wasn't following. He was just standing there, watching the car disappear. Smiling. We drove straight to the police station. This time I told them everything. Every detail. Every sign I ignored. Every moment of dread that led here. They took it seriously. Finally, 2 officers escorted us back to Sienna's apartment. They swept every room, every closet, every cupboard. And the bathroom? Someone had written on the mirror, fresh condensation. Like someone had breathed on it minutes before we returned. The message, "Where's my house key?" I almost threw up. One officer said, "He's taunting you. He wants you scared." Another said, "He wants control." They installed a temporary patrol outside Sienna's building. Told me not to return to my place. To stay with someone, anyone. I wanted to stay at the station, but they wouldn't allow it. Sienna insisted I stay with her. I didn't want to be alone. So I agreed. Huge mistake. That night, Sienna fell asleep on the couch beside me. Every lamp in the apartment was on. The blinds shut. The sliding door barricaded with a chair. Around 2 a.m., I woke up thirsty. The air felt too still. The apartment too quiet. I slipped out of the blanket and padded toward the kitchen. Halfway there, I heard it, a soft clicking sound, like metal against metal. Froze. It was coming from the door. Not Sienna's. The front door. I crept closer, heart hammering. The noise grew louder. Click. Click, click. Then a whisper of movement. Someone was in the lock. Then, a familiar voice murmured through the door. A whisper, low and intimate. "I won't hurt you. I'm already inside." My blood ran cold. Inside. I turned slowly toward the living room. Sienna was asleep. Alone. But behind the couch, just barely visible, was a shape, a man, standing perfectly still, watching me. A quiet, patient shadow. I didn't breathe, didn't move, didn't make a sound, but he made one. A tiny, sharp inhale, like he was excited. I'd finally noticed him. Everything after that happened in seconds. Sienna bolted upright. Maybe she heard my breath hitch, and screamed when she saw me frozen in place. The scream startled him, just enough. He ducked fast into the hallway, disappearing around the corner. Sienna grabbed my arm and yanked me toward her bedroom. She slammed the door, shoved her dresser in front of it, and locked the window. I tried to call 911. No service. The lights flickered. Something slammed against the hallway wall. Then silence. Total silence. We waited in a crushing, suffocating darkness. Sienna whispered, "Don't cry. Don't make a sound." I clutched her arm hard enough to hurt Dot after what felt like hours. Though it was probably minutes, we heard pounding. "Police! Open up!" Sienna sobbed. Dot. We shoved the dresser aside and flung the door open. The first time I noticed it was on our second date. She leaned in to hug me goodbye, and I froze, because for a split second, I smelled her, that exact scent, soft vanilla, something floral, and that warmth that smells like clean laundry after it's been worn all day. Emily. My sister. Dead. 5 years. It didn't make sense. No one else had ever worn that perfume. Not even close. I still kept the last bottle she'd owned, half full, on a shelf in my closet. I opened it once a year on her birthday and closed it right after. It was my grief ritual. And now this girl, this Tinder date, smelled like she'd rolled in it. Her name was Kayla. We matched 2 weeks earlier. She was pretty in an understated way. Brown hair, a little messy. Big brown eyes, soft voice, kind of awkward. Nothing about her was dramatic or flashy, which, honestly, is why I liked her. She reminded me of something safe, someone familiar. I just didn't realize how familiar until that moment. I didn't say anything about it at first. I thought maybe it was just me projecting. Memory can play sick tricks when you miss someone enough. We'd only grabbed lunch. A chill, low-key date. But even then, her mannerisms were weirdly comforting. The way she tilted her head when I talked, the little bounce in her laugh. Things Emily used to do without thinking. But it was the smell that kept echoing. It wasn't just perfume. It was her scent. And memory is wired through scent. It bypasses logic and punches you in the heart. I hugged Kayla goodbye and practically stumbled back into my car. I didn't cry. Didn't speak. Just sat there, breathing her in off my jacket. Later that night, I convinced myself it was coincidence. Maybe she used the same brand. Maybe I was losing it a little. Grief flares up at weird times. That's normal, right? Still, I messaged her. "Hey, random, but what kind of perfume do you wear?" She replied a few minutes later. Haha, no idea honestly. Got it at some antique store. It didn't even have a label. Antique store. No label. Exactly like Emily's. I didn't sleep much that night. I laid in bed thinking about the last time I saw my sister. It was 5 years ago. She'd gone missing during a weekend camping trip with her then boyfriend. Vanished without a trace. The story was all over the news for a week. Massive search effort. Dogs. Helicopters. Nothing. Eventually, they declared her dead. Presumed accident. Body never found. But I never really believed that. I always felt like she was still somewhere, waiting to come back. And now someone smelled like her, talked like her, laughed like her. Asked Kayla out again, not because I wanted to see her, because I needed answers. We met for dinner this time. I picked the restaurant, somewhere bright and public so I wouldn't spiral too deep. She showed up in a gray coat, Emily's coat, not literally but close enough. Long sleeves, button collar, slight tear near the pocket. The same one Emily wore every fall for 4 years straight. She called it her cocoon. I stared at Kayla across the table. She looked perfect. Polite, curious. She ordered sweet potato fries, Emily's favorite, and dipped them in honey mustard, which is objectively disgusting. I couldn't hold it anymore. "You remind me of someone," I said. She smiled. "Oh yeah?" "Yeah, my sister." Her smile faltered. Just for a second. "Oh, she died a few years ago." Kayla looked down at her plate. Softly, "That's awful. I'm really sorry." There was an awkward pause. Then she looked up and said, "Do you still miss her?" The question felt too pointed, too personal, like she already knew the answer. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I opened Emily's old Facebook profile. It was still up, frozen in time. Last post. A selfie from the night before she vanished. She was in her car, making a peace sign, windows down. Coat buttoned to her chin. I stared at the picture for a long time. Then, I did something I shouldn't have. I compared her face to Kayla's. Not a match, but similar. Not identical, but the shape of the mouth. The way they smiled on one side first. The way they posed slightly off-center. It was enough to mess me up. I started paying closer attention. Kayla didn't have much of a digital trail. Her Instagram had 9 photos. Most were aesthetic stuff. Coffee cups, blurry sunsets, bare feet in grass. No selfies. No tagged friends. No family. I asked where she grew up. She hesitated, then said, upstate. Didn't name the town. When I pressed, she laughed. You're the FBI now? Emily used to say that when I got nosy. Date 4. I invited her over. I wanted to see how she'd act in my space. Where Emily used to be. Kayla sat on the couch like she'd done it 100 times. Put her drink on the exact corner of the coffee table Emily always used. Hummed the same dumb jingle Emily invented for our family dog when we were kids. That's when I asked her, "Do I feel familiar to you?" She blinked. Smiled softly. Then whispered, "You all do." I didn't ask her to clarify. I couldn't. I just excused myself. Locked the bathroom door and stared into the mirror, trying not to lose it. This wasn't grief anymore. This was fear. This girl knew things she shouldn't. Intimate things. Things I'd never told anyone. I sat on the edge of the tub and pulled out my phone. Texted Sienna, my closest friend since college. "Can I ask you something insane?" Always. If someone smells, talks, and acts like your dead sister, what would you do? Get out of there immediately? But what if they don't seem dangerous? Okay, but what if they're not entirely alive either? Sienna sent a skull emoji. Then, get out of that house. We're talking. In person. Now. I made Kayla leave early. She didn't argue. Just smiled and said, "Let me know when you want to see me again." But before she walked out the door, she looked around the living room and said, "It feels different now." I swallowed. What does? She paused. Grief. Then she left, that night. I took down all the photos of Emily. Put away the perfume bottle. Locked the closet where I kept her things. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Kayla sitting on the couch with Emily's posture. Eating fries like Emily. Wearing that coat like Emily. And that whisper, "You all do." I didn't see Kayla for 3 days, but she texted. A lot. Not in a clingy way, in a familiar way. Like how Emily used to text me when she was bored in class or late at night when she couldn't sleep. "Are you awake? I'm near your street. Want coffee? You okay today?" It should have felt sweet. Reassuring. Instead it felt like the past reaching out with someone else's hands. I ignored her messages. Didn't answer calls. Didn't leave the house except once. To meet Sienna. We met at a diner on the edge of town. I must have looked sick. Because she grabbed my face the second I sat down. "You look like you've been haunted." "I feel like it," I whispered. She didn't joke back. "Not this time. Tell me everything." So I did. The scent. The coat. The mannerisms. The perfume from the antique store. The way Kayla asked if I still missed Emily. When I said the last part, "She smells exactly like her," Sienna's expression shifted from concern to something darker. "Fear, maybe. Do you think she's doing this on purpose?" She asked. "Like, stalking you? Mimicking her?" "I don't know," I said. "That doesn't explain all the little things. Stuff no one knows. Stuff I barely remember." Sienna leaned in. What exactly does she know? I hesitated. Because saying it made it real. She hummed a song from our childhood. Something Emily made up when we were like 8. I never recorded it. Never told anyone. Sienna stared. That's not possible. No, it wasn't. And yet, that night I decided something. I needed to see her again. Not for romance. For answers, I texted her, "Hey, wanna come over tonight?" She replied instantly, "Of course." I was waiting. I cleaned the house even though I knew it didn't matter. My hands were shaking the whole time. I kept glancing at the family photos I'd removed from the shelves, at the closet containing Emily's old things. Everything suddenly felt too loaded, too symbolic, like I was preparing for a seance instead of a conversation. When Kayla knocked, I felt it in my bones before I heard it. Soft, rhythmic, exactly like how Emily used to knock when she forgot her key. I opened the door. Kayla smiled, stepping inside like she'd lived there for years. She smelled like vanilla and warm laundry. My throat tightened. We sat on the couch. She tucked one leg under her body, the way Emily always had. She looked comfortable. Too comfortable. I forced myself to speak. "Kayla, do you know who you remind me of?" She looked directly at me, eyes warm, almost pitying. Yes. That single word made my skin crawl. I swallowed. "You know who Emily is?" She nodded slowly, like she was afraid I'd break. "How?" I whispered. "How do you know her? How do you know anything about her?" Kayla looked down at her hands. "I don't know how to explain it in a way that makes sense to you." "Try," she exhaled. It wasn't nervous. It was sad. "Some things aren't taught," she said softly. "They're remembered." My heart thudded. "What does that mean?" "It means," she whispered, "that when I met you, something inside me recognized something inside you. A pattern, a warmth, a memory older than this life." No. "Stop," I said. "Don't talk like that." She lifted her eyes to mine. "You think you lost her, but you didn't." My breath hitched. "She's gone," I said firmly. "She's dead. They declared her." "No," Kayla said gently. "She came back." I stood up so fast I nearly tripped. "No, don't say that. You don't understand. She came back damaged," Kayla continued, voice trembling for the first time. "She came back in pieces. In echoes. Not one person. Just bits. A scent here. A memory there. Mannerisms scattered across people who were open, who were grieving, who missed her deeply enough to let something slip in." "Stop," I whispered. "Please." Kayla looked up at me with tears forming. "I don't know why it's me," she said. "I don't know why I was the one who caught the most of her. Maybe I was cracked open already. Maybe I fit. But I'm telling you the truth." I felt the room tilt. "You're saying you're her?" Kayla didn't answer right away. She reached into her pocket and pulled out something small. My breath caught. It was a bracelet, purple thread, frayed, worn. Emily's bracelet. The one she'd been wearing the day she vanished. My legs almost gave out. "Where did you get that?" I choked out. Kayla held it gently, like it was fragile. "I didn't get it," she whispered. "I remembered it." I backed away, slowly, numbly. "This is sick," I said. "You found my sister's picture somewhere. You're copying her. You're trying to replace her." "No." Kayla stood up quickly. "I'm not trying to replace her. She's inside me. Parts of her. The parts that didn't rest." I shook my head violently. "No, that's not real." She approached me. "Smell me," she said softly. "Really smell me." I flinched away. "Please," she whispered. "You'll know." Against every instinct telling me to run, I leaned in a fraction of an inch. I smelled Emily, not perfume, not lotion. Her. The exact warm, comforting scent from our childhood. My throat closed. "No," I whispered. "This is impossible." She reached for my hand. "Do you remember what she told you the night before your birthday? 5 years ago? When she disappeared?" I froze. No one knew that. Not my parents. Not my therapist. Not Sienna. It was something Emily whispered in my ear during our last hug, right before she left for the camping trip. Kayla whispered it now, the exact words. You'll be okay without me. I promise. A broken sound escaped my mouth. It wasn't human. It was grief erupting all at once. My vision blurred. My chest cracked open. My knees nearly buckled. I sobbed, ugly, shaking, choking sobs. Kayla held me. The exact way Emily used to. Arms tight. One hand on my hair. It hurt. It hurt so much I thought I might pass out. When I could finally breathe again, I pulled away. I stared at her face, her eyes, her trembling lip. She looked like Kayla. She wasn't Emily, but she carried something of her. Something real. Something impossible. Why you? I whispered. Kayla's face twisted in pain. I wish I knew, she said. Sometimes it overwhelms me. I get flashes of things I've never lived. Feelings that aren't mine. I smell things that make me cry for no reason. I dream in memories that don't belong to me. She looked terrified. I didn't ask for this, she whispered. I'm scared too. For the first time, I believed her. Not because her story made sense, but because her fear did. Why did you seek me out? I asked. Kayla swallowed. I didn't, she said. You swiped right on me. But when I saw your name, something hit me, hard, like I'd been punched. My name. Emily's name. Her brother's name. Then why did you keep going? I whispered. Kayla looked down. Because when I'm with you, the pieces stop hurting. Those words nearly broke me all over again. But then she said something that made my skin crawl. She isn't whole yet. I stiffened. What does that mean? Kayla slowly lifted her eyes to mine. There are other pieces. Out there. In other people. Other places. And she wants them back. I stepped back. All that warmth drained from my body. What are you talking about? I whispered. Kayla's voice trembled. She wants to come home. My stomach dropped. She wants. I whispered, to be alive again? Kayla nodded, slow, haunted. She's trying. I shook my head violently. No, that's not how this works. She's gone. She can't come back. People don't return like fingerprints scattered across strangers. Kayla's eyes filled with tears. I know, she whispered. But she's trying anyway. And what does she want from me? Kayla stared at me for a long, unbearable moment. Then she whispered, to finish the memory. The last one she had before she died. A cold wave washed over my spine. What memory? Kayla's face crumpled. She was scared, she whispered. She was running. Someone was following her. Someone she trusted. The air left my lungs. No, I said. She went camping. She got lost. Kayla shook her head. She didn't get lost. My knees nearly gave out. She ran, Kayla said softly. And she never stopped. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Who? I rasped. Who was following her? Kayla looked at me with this awful, heartbreaking pity. I don't know, she whispered. That's the part that's missing. My head spun. But she thinks, Kayla added softly, that if she can pull her memories back together, she'll remember who killed her. I stared at her. My throat dry. My chest numb. My body hollow. Why tell me this? I managed to whisper. Kayla stepped closer. Because I'm losing myself, she said. She's getting stronger. And if she finds all the pieces, I don't think I'll be me anymore. She took a shaky breath. And I don't want to disappear. I staggered back toward the door, grabbing my coat. I have to go, I said. I have to think. I have to. Don't leave, she begged. Please. I don't know how much longer I have. I'm sorry, I said. I can't do this right now. I opened the door. And froze, because The hallway smelled like vanilla and warm laundry, stronger than before, dense, thick, like someone had just walked through it. Kayla whispered behind me, "She's close." I didn't sleep that night, didn't eat, didn't cry, just sat on my bedroom floor, shaking, replaying every impossible moment, the scent, the words, the bracelet, the memories, the warning, who killed her? Why is she coming back? What does she want from me? And then, around 3:14 a.m., I heard something, a soft knock on my bedroom door, 3 taps just like Emily used to do. I didn't move. I didn't answer. I barely breathed. Then a voice whispered through the wood, "Let me in." I remember now. My blood turned to ice because it wasn't Kayla's voice, and it wasn't Emily's. It was a voice I hadn't heard in years. Her boyfriend's, the last person to see her alive. The moment I heard the lock click behind me, I knew something was wrong. Not just first date awkward wrong. Wrong in the way your body feels when your instincts scream before your brain catches up. He said it was an old door. Said it stuck. But the way he said it, too casual, too practiced, set something off in me. His hand lingered just a second too long on the doorknob. Like he was making sure I heard it lock, like he wanted me to. His name was Liam. We met on Tinder a few weeks earlier. His profile was clean, suspiciously so. 5 well-lit photos, all neutral backgrounds, all solo. The kind of profile that says, "I'm normal. I'm safe." He was charming. Just enough sarcasm. Just enough mystery. He worked in architecture, he said, but when I asked where, he said freelance, which felt vague. Still, I was the one who suggested meeting up. Our first date was safe. Coffee, middle of the day, public. He was polite, kinda quiet, but there was something about him that drew me in. He made me feel like I had his full attention. Not in a fake way, intense, like he was memorizing me. The second date, we grabbed drinks. It was late, and I drank more than I meant to. I barely remember the Uber home, but I remember him walking me to my door. Hands in his pockets, not pushing, just watching. Third date. He invited me to his place. "You're gonna judge me," he said. "It's a weird house. My uncle built it in the 80s. The basement's freaky. You've been warned." That should have been a red flag. But I was already hooked. And I liked weird. What I didn't know was, the basement wasn't just weird. It was a trap. Got there around 6 p.m. The house was about 20 minutes outside the city, tucked behind a long gravel driveway. No neighbors in sight. The place looked normal enough, a split level, a little old, but well kept. Warm lights, clean porch, nothing out of place. Inside, it smelled like cedar and cologne. Liam was waiting at the door, smiling. "You found it," he said. "Most people get lost." He said that like he'd invited a lot of people. We had dinner, pasta he made from scratch, wine, soft music, and for a while, it really did feel normal. But then he said, "You want to see something weird?" I froze mid-sip. "What do you mean?" He smiled. "I told you about the basement. You gotta see it." Every nerve in my body tensed. But I nodded, because saying no felt unsafe. He led me to a door behind the kitchen. The kind of door you'd mistake for a pantry. It opened to a narrow staircase. The walls were painted red. Like deep red. Almost brown. Uncle was an artist, he said over his shoulder. Weird guy. Used this space for his experiments. Experiments? I repeated. He laughed. Not science experiments. Like audio-visual stuff. Light manipulation. Isolation chambers. That kind of thing. I followed slowly. The air grew colder with every step. It smelled musty. Old wood and metal and something I couldn't name. Sharp, like static dot. When we reached the bottom, I stopped. The room was red dot, all of it. Walls, floor, ceiling, painted the same matte, oppressive red dot. No furniture. No windows. Just a thick red carpet in the center and a single spotlight overhead. I felt dizzy. "What is this?" I asked. He smiled, stepping into the center of the room. "Soundproof," he said. "Totally sealed. No signal, no noise. Can't hear the street. Can't hear the neighbors. Total silence." He clapped his hands. "No echo. It was true." The room swallowed sound like a black hole. I backed up a little. "Okay, you've officially shown me the creepiest room I've ever seen," I joked, trying to keep it light. "Congrats." He didn't laugh. He just looked at me and said, "Do you want to try being in here alone?" I stared at him. "Why?" "I don't know," he said. "It does something to people. You feel time differently. It's like you forget things. In a good way." That sentence hit me wrong. "Forget what?" He shrugged. "Everything. Names, faces, yourself if you stay long enough." He smiled. I didn't. "I think I'm good," I said, taking a step back toward the stairs. But he didn't move. He just stood there, blocking the center of the room. "You sure?" My chest tightened. I forced a smile. "Yeah, this is cool, but it's giving me haunted art gallery vibes." I turned and started up the stairs. That's when I heard it. The door at the top clicked shut. I stopped mid-step. The sound was final. Not a gust. Not an accident. A lock. I turned around slowly. Liam was still in the center of the red room, watching me. "Why did that lock?" I asked, voice sharp. He didn't answer at first. Then he said, "Don't panic. It's just automatic. Old house. I'll unlock it in a sec." I stared. "You swear?" He nodded, still smiling, but he didn't move. Something in me broke. I didn't wait. I sprinted back down the stairs and pushed past him, fast, elbowing him hard, and bolted across the room to the wall. There was another door. I hadn't seen it before. Low, painted red like everything else. No handle, just a metal latch. Liam didn't try to stop me. He just stood there and said, "That one's worse." I froze, hand hovering over the latch. "That one's worse." His voice echoed inside me. Not loud, just true. I turned back. He hadn't moved. Just watched me from the center of the room, hands still in his pockets, like this was all normal. Like I was the one making things weird. "What's behind this door?" I asked. He tilted his head. "Something I haven't figured out how to get rid of." That's when I realized he wasn't afraid of the red room. He was afraid of what came after it. The silence in that room did something to you. It wasn't just soundproof. It was like time flattened. Like if you stayed long enough, you'd forget you were ever somewhere else, maybe even someone else. I backed away from the second door, slowly, carefully. "You said you'd unlock the door," I reminded him. "Let me out." Still he didn't move. "Liam." He finally looked up. Something behind his eyes twitched, like a smile trying to form, but not quite making it. "You ever hear about sensory deprivation chambers?" he asked. My stomach turned. "I'm not doing this," I said. "Let me out, or I swear to God, you lose track of your body in total silence," he said, taking one step toward me. "You start forgetting what you look like, what you are." Another step. I backed up toward the stairs. He whispered, "Sometimes that's when something else slips in." I ran. Didn single quotes. Think. Didn't breathe. Just ran up the stairs, 2 at a time, heart smashing against my ribs. I grabbed the knob and yanked. Lock. No give. I slammed my fist against it. "Let me out." No answer. I turned to see Liam, standing at the bottom of the stairs now, closer. Expression still blank. His voice floated up. She lasted 3 minutes before she started clawing at the door. My blood ran cold. "What are you talking about?" The last girl I brought here, he said. Didn't make it very long. She started screaming before the room even did anything. He tilted his head. I think you're stronger. I lunged back down the stairs, sprinted across the red room, and slammed into him with everything I had. He stumbled, didn't fall, but enough for me to get past him again. I grabbed the second door's latch and yanked it open. Behind it was a narrow hallway, completely dark, lined with what looked like thick acoustic foam. Not red, just black dot sound dash absorbing, deadening dot, and at the end, another door dot metal, scratched. This one had no handle, just a smear of something. I didn't want to look at too long. Liam didn't try to stop me. He just stood at the red room's threshold and said, "She went through there too." Thought it was an exit. Everyone does. My voice was shaking. What is this place? His answer? A house for forgetting. I didn't go through the second hallway. I backed into a corner of the red room and sank down, legs shaking, eyes locked on both doors. Liam sat across from me, cross-legged, calm, like he was waiting for a bus. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. Then he said, "Because I want to see who you really are when everything else is gone." I stayed down there for hours. Maybe more, I don't know. My phone had no service, no signal, no light. At some point, I must have fallen asleep. Or passed out. Because when I opened my eyes again, Liam was gone, and the door at the top of the stairs was open. I didn't run right away. I waited, listening, but there was no sound. No footsteps. No creaking floorboards. Just silence pressing down on me like weight. I got up slowly, knees stiff, body aching, and I climbed out one step at a time. When I reached the top, the kitchen was empty. Still warm. Lights on. Like nothing had happened. I didn't stop to look around. I ran out the front door, down the gravel driveway, into the road, waving like a lunatic until a car finally pulled over. The driver was an older woman, confused, alarmed. I was shaking so hard I couldn't get the words out, but she took me to the police. They searched the house. They found the red room. They found the hallway. But the second door? Gone, walled over, clean, like it had never existed. And Liam? Vanished. The house was owned by a holding company, no name. No clear contact, no paper trail. No one by the name of Liam had ever filed utilities. No employment records. No tax records. It was like he'd never been there. Like I had imagined it. I moved, changed my number, deleted all my dating apps, started therapy, tried to forget, but I couldn't. Because even now sometimes, I wake up in the middle of the night, and my room is red. Just for a second. Before I blink, like it's waiting. Like the room followed me. And sometimes, worse, I hear a sound no one else can hear. From behind my closet, or behind the wall. Like someone's knocking. 3 times. Soft, even. And then a whisper. You never opened the last door. We matched around midnight. I was in bed, phone brightness low, doom scrolling through Tinder because I couldn't sleep. His name was Eli. No cheesy bio. Just 4 photos, all in soft lighting, kinda blurred, like film stills. Something about his face felt familiar, not someone I'd met, someone I'd seen. I liked that he didn't try too hard. I swiped right. It was an instant match. A second later, he messaged, "You're not supposed to be up." I stared at the message, half smiling. Says who? I replied, says me. There was no flirtation. No pickup lines. It was like we were already in the middle of a conversation. I couldn't sleep. You never sleep well on Thursdays. I paused. I didn't remember putting my schedule anywhere on my profile. Lucky guess? I typed something like that. I should have unmatched, but I didn't. Because I was curious. Because he felt familiar. We texted for over an hour. It didn't feel like getting to know someone. It felt like catching up with someone I'd forgotten. I already knew. He remembered things I hadn't told him. That I drink coffee black. That I had a chipped front tooth in middle school. That my dog died last winter, and I still checked the space where his water bowl used to be. Every time I asked how he knew, he'd say, "You told me. You just don't remember yet." I finally asked the obvious, "Have we met before?" He sent back a smiley face, then said, "Not like this." I closed the app around 2 a.m., too weirded out to keep going, but not scared. Not yet. The next morning, I opened Tinder again, and something was off. Eli's profile had changed, the same name, but a different face. The photos were still the same type, low light, vintage, but it wasn't the same guy. Different bone structure, different jaw, different eyes, still attractive, but wrong. I clicked into the profile. Now, his bio said, "You're remembering me differently again." I stared at the screen, chilled. I backed out. Opened our message thread. It was still there. Same convo from last night. But his little profile icon at the top had changed to match the new face. I messaged him, "Why did your profile change?" The typing bubble appeared immediately. It didn't. I snapped a screenshot and sent it. "Yes, it did. You don't even look the same." His reply came fast. "That's just how you're seeing me now." That was when I stopped texting him. I didn't unmatch. I should have, but something kept me from pulling the trigger. Part of me was scared. Another part didn't want to lose the thread. Like I needed to understand what was happening before I could walk away. That was a mistake. 2 days later, I woke up to a new notification, not from Tinder, from a nearby airdrop request. I was alone in my apartment. No guests. No neighbors close enough to connect. The file name was img_0136.jpg. I denied it immediately. But my phone vibrated again. Same name. Same file. I denied it again. Turned off Bluetooth. Started checking every window. When I finally calmed down, I opened Tinder out of pure panic. Eli's profile was gone, but our chat thread was still there. And the last message, sent while I slept, was, "Look again. I'm closer this time." I tried to report the account, but when I tapped the settings icon, it just kicked me back to the home screen. I tried again. Same result. Eventually, Tinder crashed and refused to open at all. When I reopened it the next day, Eli's thread had vanished. Like none of it ever happened. But that night, at 3:09 a.m., I got a text from an unknown number. "You didn't open the photo." I blocked the number, deleted Tinder, uninstalled AirDrop, did a factory reset, even called my phone carrier to change my number completely. For a few days, it worked. Silence, peace, normal life, until I got a letter. Yes, a physical letter, slipped under my door. No stamp, no return address. On plain white paper, in messy handwriting. "You're almost ready to remember me the right way," taped to the letter. Was a photo. It was me. In bed. Asleep. Taken from just a few feet away. I didn't sleep after I saw the photo. I couldn't. I just sat at the kitchen table, every light in the apartment on, staring at the letter and the image of myself asleep, head tilted slightly, mouth parted, blanket pushed halfway off. The photo was taken from inside my room. Close, like standing over me. Close. The framing was perfect, centered, personal, intimate. He knew how I slept, how I looked in the dark. How to slip in without waking me. I went to the police. They were polite, concerned even, but not helpful. No fingerprints on the letter. No camera footage from the hallway. No forced entry. They asked if I had a boyfriend ex. Stalker. I said no. They asked if maybe I took the photo myself and forgot. I nearly laughed in their faces. That's the problem with fear like this. The quiet kind. The kind that doesn't leave bruises or blood. People don't take it seriously until it's too late. I filed the report. But I knew I was alone. Stayed with a friend for 2 nights, Sienna, the one person who knew everything. She believed me. She didn't ask if I was okay. She just made up the couch and kept the lights on. The second night, I used her laptop to try logging back into Tinder. I had deleted the app. Erased everything. But I needed to know. I made a new account. Different email. Different name. Within 2 minutes of signing up, I had one match. Eli. Same name. New face. This one looked older. Still attractive. Still distant. Still blurred, like he was always half faded. His bio this time just said, "You're getting closer." I didn't message him, but he messaged me. "There you are," I typed. "What do you want?" His reply came instantly. "For you to remember." Remember what? How this ends. Sienna walked in while I was staring at the screen, frozen. She saw the profile, the messages, the photos, and she believed me. More than ever. But what scared her the most wasn't Eli. It was me. "You don't remember him?" She asked. "No," I said. "Why would I?" She hesitated. Then opened her old Instagram archive. Pulled up a post from 2019. The summer before I started grad school. A photo of us at a lake house. Laughing, tanned, carefree. I'm holding a bottle. She's holding my phone. And next to me, him. Same jawline. Same posture. Different face, but it was him. I was leaning into him like I trusted him. Like I'd known him forever. The caption said, "Weekend with my favorites." I don't remember taking that photo. I don't remember that weekend. And I don't remember him. Who is he? I whispered. Sienna was pale. "I thought you knew. I always assumed you just didn't talk about him after the ... thing." She looked scared. "You got into that accident a week later. The one with the concussion. You were never the same after that." I swallowed. I remembered the concussion. I didn't remember the before. That night, I dug through everything. My phone backups, old journals, even my camera roll on the cloud. No Eli. No tagged photos. No saved numbers. It was like he'd been erased. But Sienna had proof. He'd existed, and now he was back. Changing shape. Talking like I knew him. Saying I just didn't remember correctly. What kind of person leaves pieces of themselves behind in your life, waiting to be picked up like breadcrumbs? What kind of memory evolves when you're not looking? I started dreaming about him. Not in fragments, in narratives. Full conversations. Whole days. A version of my life where he was always there. At my graduation. At my mom's funeral. In the background of everything. Smiling. Watching. Waiting for me to finally see him. And every time I woke up, I felt like I'd lost someone all over again. 3 nights ago, I woke up to find my laptop open. I hadn't touched it. There was one window pulled up. A new folder on the desktop. A am aside, it were dozens of screenshots. Every version of Eli's profile. Every face he'd used. Every message he'd sent. All cataloged, organized. By date. But the first file wasn't from this month. Or last year. It was from 2015. Back when I was 17. The screenshot showed a Tinder profile, which shouldn't even be possible. I wasn't legally allowed to use it then. The photo was of him. Same eyes, same feeling. Bio, "I always find you. Even when you forget." That was when I realized this wasn't some guy. This wasn't a stalker. This was something older. Something that's worn faces the way other people wear usernames. That slips into whatever shape I expect. Who wasn't surprised when I swiped right? Because I always had. Because I always do. Last night, I went back to my apartment. Alone. I needed to see what was still mine. Everything looked untouched. But the mirror in the hallway had something scratched faintly into the surface. Just one word. Again. I didn't sleep. I didn't turn off the lights. Around 2:47 a.m., I opened Tinder again. Just to see. There, he was. Same profile. Different face. No bio. We matched. He sent one message. It's okay. You always forget me in the end. But I never forget you. I didn't reply, but I stared at that message for a long time because deep down, some part of me believed it. Some part of me missed him, and that's the scariest part. Not that he's watching. Not that he breaks in. Not even that he's not human. It's that I've known him across versions of myself, that he's followed me through identities, relationships, grief, memory loss, and I let him. Because every time I forget, he just waits, a profile, a smile, a voice that feels familiar, and I swipe right. Every single time. Last message I ever got from him. You're almost ready to remember everything. I don't know what happens when I do, but I think he'll stop changing faces. I think he'll stop waiting. And I think that's when I'll finally understand who or what he really is, and if he's something I lost or something I let in. The first time we matched, I thought it was a glitch. The profile had no bio. Just one photo, low res, maybe taken on an old phone. She was standing in a field, backlit by the setting sun, long hair blowing sideways across her face. You could barely make her out, but something about it felt intentional. Like it wasn't trying to be cute or trendy. It just was. Her name was Ray. I swiped right, instant match. And then she messaged, I didn't think you'd still be on here. I blinked. Still? We'd never talked before, at least not that I remembered. What do you mean? I replied. No response. Not for 5 minutes. Then 10. Then nothing. I figured she unmatched or changed her mind. Whatever. That's Tinder. Except, the next morning, she matched with me again. New profile. Same name. Same exact photo. Still no bio. Still no mutual friends. Still felt like déjà vu. This time she messaged, you look tired. Okay, weird. I replied, kinda. Do we know each other or something? This time she answered right away, you could say that. I stared at the screen, trying to place her face. But it was too obscured in the photo, and reverse image search brought up nothing. From school? Sort of. I frowned. You're not gonna make this easy, are you? No answer. I was about to unmatch, but something made me pause. The way she spoke, it didn't feel like a bot or a catfish. It felt like someone playing a private game I didn't know the rules to. Later that night, I was watching Netflix when I got a text from an unknown number. Why did you stop talking to me? I froze. No contact name. No signature. Just that. Who is this? A few seconds passed. Then, Ray. My stomach dropped. I hadn't given her my number. At least, I didn't think I had. I scrolled back through Tinder. Her profile was gone again. No match history. No chat thread. Gone like it had never existed. I texted back, how did you get my number? No reply, just silence. Then 10 minutes later, you gave it to me. In the old life. I didn't sleep well that night. I kept checking my locks, walking to the windows, refreshing my call logs. I know how this kind of thing goes. People get weird on Tinder. But this wasn't weird. It was personal. Like she wasn't trying to flirt or creep. She was trying to remind me of something I'd forgotten, or maybe something I'd repressed. The next morning, I called a buddy of mine, Drew, who works IT and used to help the local PD with digital harassment stuff. Sent him the number Ray texted me from. An hour later, he called me back. Dude, he said, you're not gonna like this. What? That number's not registered to any cell carrier. Like a burner? Worse, it's been deactivated for almost 4 months. No usage. No SIM, nothing. Went dry. Are you sure? I double-checked, he said. It was a prepaid SIM, registered for exactly 3 days. Then shut off. No incoming or outgoing after that. What were the activation dates? I asked Dot. There was a pause on the line. Then he said, December 2nd through December 5th. I didn't say anything because I knew those dates. I remembered them. That was the same week a girl named Ray went missing from my old college campus. Hadn't thought about her in years. We weren't close, barely more than acquaintances. She was a year behind me. Quiet, smart, stayed out of parties. The kind of girl people noticed more after she was gone. I remembered she disappeared after finals. Left her dorm and never came back. The case went cold in months. I hadn't heard her name since Dot until now. I called Drew back. Can you find out if that number was connected to her somehow? I can try. But if you're right, that's beyond messed up. I hung up. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. Just sat at my desk that night, scrolling through old campus news articles. And there it was, Dot missing. Rachel E. Monroe. Goes by Ray, last seen, December 4th. The next night, she matched with me again. New profile. Same photo. The name was just E, the bio said. Do you remember me now? My hands went cold. I didn't swipe, but I stared at the profile for a long time. Just trying to remember what we'd ever said to each other. What I might have done or not done. The match disappeared before I made a choice. I didn't touch Tinder for a full day, but Ray still found me. This time, it wasn't a match. It was an email. Sent to my old student account, the one I hadn't logged into in 4 years. The subject line was blank. The sender's name just said, There was only one line of text inside. Meet me where we met last. No signature. No context. Just that one sentence. The problem was, I didn't know what that meant. Because as far as I remembered, Ray and I never met anywhere significant. We had one class together. We barely talked. Or at least, that's what I believed. But when I read that message, I felt something weird. Like static in my blood, like I had been somewhere with her, but someone had cut the memory out of my head with surgical precision. That night, I went digging through my old files. I found a screenshot of a text thread from December 3rd, 2019, the day before she vanished. It was from an old phone I lost in a subway station years ago. But I'd backed it up to my drive. The thread had a contact saved as just Ray. That paperclip emoji stopped me cold, because I remembered, vaguely, that was something I used to do when someone sent me something I needed to look at later. A note, a poem, a weird article. I opened the screenshot. Ray. Can we talk? Just us, me, when? Ray, tonight. By the greenhouse. Me, you sure? Ray, no, but I have to do this before I disappear. My stomach dropped. I didn't remember that conversation. Didn't remember going. Didn't remember anything. But apparently, I did go, because the next photo in my archive was from the same night, a blurry shot of the old campus greenhouse. Taken at 11:41 p.m. dark, fogged, empty. I never take photos like that, unless I'm trying to remember something. So I drove back to campus, even though I had no reason to. Even though I didn't belong there anymore. Even though the greenhouse was probably locked. I parked at the edge of the lot, pulled my hoodie up, and walked the old gravel path behind the biology building. Everything felt off. Unreal. Like the closer I got, the more the air on me thickened. When I reached the greenhouse, it was exactly as I remembered. Tall domed glass panes smeared with years of dirt and moss. The door was cracked open, wide. Just enough for someone thin to slip through. I pushed it open. The metal hinges creaked like they hadn't been moved in years. Inside, the air was damp and overgrown. The smell of wet soil hit me instantly. I walked the rows slowly, my flashlight beam cutting through vines and dust. And then I saw it. Her coat hung neatly over a broken planter bench. Faded denim. Torn sleeve. Same one from the photo the news ran when she went missing. I stepped toward it. Heart pounding. That's when I heard it. A ringtone. Muffled, low dot coming from inside the coat pocket. I reached in and pulled out a burner phone. Old model. Cracked screen. Prepaid. The screen lit up. Incoming call. Unknown. He shouldn't have answered, but I did. There was no voice on the other end. Just breathing. Soft, measured, familiar. Ray? I whispered. No answer. Why are you doing this? Still nothing. Then faintly, so faint I thought I imagined it. You left me there. I opened my mouth to respond, but the line went dead. I didn't go home that night. I drove to Sienna's place again. Woke her up. Told her everything. The greenhouse, the phone, the voice. She didn't say anything for a while. Then she said, I never told you this, but back then, Ray came to my dorm once. The week she disappeared. I stared at her. She came to you? Why? She was scared, Sienna said. She said she was going to tell someone something important. That she had proof. She didn't say what. Just that she had to meet you first. My head was spinning. Why didn't you say anything? Because after she went missing, I thought maybe she'd made it up. Or that she was having a breakdown. I didn't know she actually met you. Neither did I. The next day, I got another text. Blocked numbered. This time. It was a photo. Not of Ray. Of me. At the greenhouse. From last night. Taken from inside, which meant I wasn't alone, even when I thought I was. That night, I opened Tinder again. I had to see. Sure enough, a new match. Name. Ray_mirror bio. You saw me last. You heard me last. You left me last, I messaged. What happened that night? She replied, you promised you'd come back. I waited. My hands were ice, but you ran instead. The memory came back in pieces that night. The greenhouse. She was crying, said someone had hurt her. Said she had screenshots, names, proof. She wanted me to walk her to campus security. I told her I would. Told her I just needed to grab my bag from the dorm, and then I didn't go back. I ghosted. I got scared. I told myself someone else would help. And the next morning, she was gone. She never got to send the files. Never got to speak up. And now she wanted me to finish it. I powered on the burner phone again. Dug through its storage. Only one folder wasn't empty. Inside were audio files. Rough. Garbled. But I heard her voice, whispers, names, fear, and something else. A recorded voicemail from a man, threatening, slurred. I recognized the voice. A professor. One who resigned suddenly the semester after Ray disappeared. I sent everything to Sienna. To the cops. To the old campus tip line. I don't know if it's enough, but it's something. And I think that's what Ray wanted. That night, I matched with her one last time. Same photo. Same name. No bio. Just one message. Thank you. I remember now, I replied. Do you forgive me? There was no answer, but the match disappeared, and her number. Stopped texting. It's been quiet since then. No more calls. No more photos. No more profiles. But sometimes when I walk past a cracked phone booth or see a burner phone at a gas station, I get this feeling, like someone's still waiting for me. I didn't think much of the filter at first. His photos were just a little too clean, eyes crisp, almost glowing. Skin a little too smooth, smile always symmetrical. The kind of guy you'd think is catfishing but still swipe on anyway just to see if he's real. His name was Aaron. His profile said he was 28, into cycling, indie horror films, and reality-bending stuff, whatever that meant. But it was his eyes I kept coming back to. Every photo. They locked straight onto the lens. Not smizing, not relaxed. Just locked. Like they were watching me, not the camera. Still, I swiped right. We matched instantly. He messaged first. Been waiting on you. I replied with a flirty, that's forward. He said, I like to meet people who notice details. What kind of details? Things that aren't supposed to be there, or things that are too perfect. I laughed it off, but something about that stuck with me. Still, the chat was good, casual, easy. We exchanged a few jokes, got into a little back and forth about weird horror movies, and then he asked if I wanted to meet in person. Normally I wait at least a few days, but I said yes. I don't know why. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop I liked. Public, bright, no pressure. When he walked in, I recognized him immediately, but not for the reasons I expected. He was exactly like the photos. Exactly. Same hoodie, same perfect jawline, same crisp eyes. And that's what threw me. Most people look worse in real life. Or at least different. Aaron looked like a rendered version of himself. He sat down across from me and said, "You're exactly how I pictured." And I almost replied, "You're not." Because something about him didn't move right. We talked for maybe half an hour. He was charming, confident, too smooth. Nothing wrong with what he said, but the rhythm was off. Like a conversation copied and pasted from somewhere else. Still, I kept brushing it off. Told myself I was overthinking, until he laughed. I said something stupid. I don't even remember what, and he let out this loud, sharp "huh." That cut off too fast. And his eyes didn't move. That's when I realized. His mouth smiled. His voice laughed, but his eyes didn't crinkle, didn't twitch, didn't shift. They just stared. Like the smile was for show, and the rest of him hadn't gotten the memo. I tried not to let it show. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, and sat on the closed toilet seat just breathing. My hands were shaking. I took out my phone and looked at his Tinder profile again. Same photos. But something about them now looked worse. Like the longer I looked, the more flattened they became. His pupils were too centered in every image. Dead on the horizontal axis. Like stock photos of a human being. I screenshotted them, just in case. Then I texted my friend Sienna, "Hey, I think this guy I'm with is fake." "Fake how?" "Like, deep fake. Back at the table, I told Aaron I had to cut it short. He nodded. "That's okay, you'll see me again." Something about the way he said it gave me chills. Not cocky. Not flirty. That certain. When I got home that night, I couldn't stop looking at the photos I'd saved. And that's when I saw it. In one of them, the second one, the one where he's wearing the blue jacket, his left eye was glitching. Just slightly. The pixel blur wasn't natural. It looked warped. Pulled sideways by 1 or 2 frames, like a corrupted video still. Like someone tried to smooth over an error and didn't quite finish the job. Zoomed in until the eye took up my whole screen, and then it blinked. I swear to God. The image blinked. Just once. I dropped my phone, full body panic, heart in my throat. I backed into the far corner of my room like I'd been burned. Then I picked the phone back up. The image was static again. Just a JPG. No movement. No blink. But the timestamp had changed. Last modified, just now. I hadn't touched it. And the glitch? Gone. I barely slept that night. I kept checking my phone. Over and over. The image wouldn't blink again. It was just as still now, perfect, smooth, quiet. But that timestamp. That's what haunted me. Last modified, 3:12 a.m. I didn't touch it at 3:12 a.m. But something did. The next morning, I messaged Sienna again. "I think there's something wrong with his photos." "They're moving," she replied immediately. "Like a live photo?" "No, like they're reacting." I sent her one of the screenshots. She opened it, then called me. Her voice was flat. "What the hell is this? What do you mean?" She sent me a screenshot of the photo on her phone, the same one I had just sent, but now the background was different. Same guy, same pose. But instead of the street behind him, it was my apartment hallway. I told her to delete it immediately. She did. Or she tried to. Because 10 minutes later, she called again, out of breath, panicked. "It won't delete." "What do you mean it won't delete?" "Every time I move it to trash, it comes back." Different versions, same guy, new backgrounds. Like what? A pause. Like my bedroom. From last night, we met up in person. Panicked, rattled. We shared our phones, cross-checked files. It was like Aaron's photos were re-rendering themselves. Morphing based on what our cameras had seen. It was like he was updating his surroundings. Using our devices to keep learning us. That night I put my phone in a drawer, wrapped it in foil like an idiot, and turned off all the lights, but it didn't matter. Because just after 2 a.m., I got a knock on the door, not loud. 3 soft knocks. Perfectly spaced. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Another knock. Then a voice, muffled, low, male. You forgot to blink back. I stayed frozen. Back against the wall. I never answered. Never opened the door. And eventually, he stopped knocking, but I never heard footsteps. No retreat. No car. No sound of movement. Just silence. And when I looked through the peephole an hour later, the hallway was empty. But the bulb above my door was flickering. I smashed my phone the next day, completely. Threw it in a public dumpster across town. Sienna did the same. We factory reset everything. New accounts, new SIM cards, new emails. We tried to go fully offline, and for a while, it worked. Until I saw him again. Not online, not in a photo. In real life. At a bookstore. 3 blocks from my apartment. He was standing at the end of the aisle, staring straight at me. Same hoodie, same jawline, same eyes. And here's the worst part. Everyone else just walked past him. Like he wasn't even there. I blinked. He didn't. I turned away, just for a second, and when I looked back, gone. Not down the aisle, not outside. Just gone. That night, I did the one thing I said I wouldn't do. I reinstalled Tinder, just to see. And there he was. New name, new profile, same face. But this time, no bio, no age. Just a looping high-res video profile of him staring. No blinking. Just watching. The second I opened the video, my phone camera turned on. I saw the green light flash in the corner. He was looking through it. I was being watched. I shut it down. Deleted the app. Smashed the second phone. But deep down, I knew it didn't matter anymore. Because I had seen his eyes glitch in real life. Not a screen. Not a photo. Not a filter. The same exact twitch. The same digital smear. Right across his iris as he looked at me. Just for a second. But it was real. And I don't think he's a person. I don't know what he is. I gone rogue. A deep fake entity looking for permanence. A virus with a face. But I know this. He uses your attention to grow, your focus, your gaze. Every time you look at him, match him, message him, notice him, he learns you better, deeper, more precise. Until he can render himself into your world. He's not catfishing. He's replicating. And once you notice the glitch, it's already too late. Last week, Sienna disappeared. She didn't take her phone, but the cops found her laptop open. Tinder was still running, and the last profile she viewed? Just a black screen. With one line of text, "You're almost done seeing me." I don't use screens anymore. I cover mirrors. I keep the lights dim. I try not to stare too long at anything reflective, because I saw my own eyes glitch the other day. Just a flicker. Just for a second, and I don't think I blinked back in time.